Can you take an ebook, an interview ebook, a series of interviews, and turn that into a profitable content empire? We're going to answer that question in just a moment. Everyone, to episode 94 of the Content Profit Show. So glad you're here, whether you're watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on my website, live or on replay. I almost said live or in person. Live or on replay. I am so glad you're here. Thank you for your support. You guys are why we're at 94 and about to hit 100 in just a few days, during which we'll have a big celebration. Now, before I introduce our guest today, we haven't done this for several episodes, but how about another exciting episode of What's on Jeff's Desk? Okay, so today we feature, this is my contacts box that my contacts come in because I need some new ones and I'm wearing a pair too long right now. So just, a sample of what's on my desk. I don't know why people like that, Allan, but I did it back in teleseminar days and people keep asking for it. So, okay, we'll do that. So folks, my guest today is Allan Fielding, all the way from Malaysia, okay, where it is right now 11 p.m. So right there, we already know something about Allan. He wants this. He's committed to this. He wants to do what it takes to get this dream. So, and Allan is the author of Tenacious Titans, a series of interviews with leading edge successful business people. And we're going to take a look at that in a minute. Allan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jeffrey.
Happy for you to be here. And so is 11 past your usual bedtime?
It definitely is, yes. It's probably about 2 hours past my bedtime.
Yeah, I'm about the same way because I wake up super early no matter what. All right, so let's take a look at your oops, I got to go over here. Take a look at your, nope, not there, here. Okay, let's take a look at your ebook. Great title page, I love it. Show the money. Reignite those business dreams through inspirational stories. Oh, that's the story part of it is so good. All right, so let's go to, we find the table of contents. You know what? I read this just the other day, Allan, somewhere online. This quote from Audrey Hepburn, somewhere else, so I love it. A table of contents. So you've got 7 people that you've interviewed. How did you choose these folks?
Well, that's a good story in itself because the first guy, I only knew him for about a month. I met him through another contact in Singapore.
Right.
And I just simply rang him up and said, look, I'd like to interview you because you're a very successful business person. And he said, yeah, come on over to my factory. And that's what I did. And then the second guy, I knew him for a number of years, basically in multi-level marketing, and he was quite successful. And the third guy, Melvin, I knew him from a multi-level marketing group many, many years ago. And I just contacted him out of the blue and he said, yes, I'll do an interview with you. And Benny Ong, I knew him for a number of years in financial planning. And the guy, number 5, I met him at a party about 4 years ago, and I just rang him up once again unexpectedly and asked if I could interview him about his business. And this guy Gabriel, I only met him about 6 months ago. Before COVID. I just met him a couple of times. I used to get my photocopying done at his printing firm.
Cool.
And I just rang him up one day and said, look, I want to interview people in Malaysia about entrepreneurship. And he said, yeah, come on over. And that was number 7. Number 6 was a guy I met at the gym. He owned a vinyl record shop. And I just went and knocked on his door one day and said, would you like to do an interview this week? And he said, yeah, sure.
I am absolutely loving this story, Allan. And everybody watching or listening, look up here. This is important. Okay. there's a lot of themes in what Allan just said. There are people he knew, people he'd done with business with, and people he just met. And to quote Allan, I rang them up and asked them if I could interview them. And out of all the people that you've asked, Allan, how many have said no?
0.
I love it. I love it. Talk about a wonderful business model, folks, because I've never turned down an interview, and I don't have many friends or colleagues that would, because two things. One, it gets the word out. And two, I wind up saying stuff I normally wouldn't have said, or saying it in a way I wouldn't have normally said, but the good interviewer asked me a question, right? So this is a brilliant setup here. Let's dive into making something really cool out of it. Let me get this out of the way. Put this on slideshow. Put this on slideshow. And there we are, a big blank screen for Allan's new content empire. So let's start filling this in. Of course, we've got the first thing, Tenacious Titans ebook of interviews. I love that brand, Tenacious Titans. And I looked it up today on Google, and the only place I found those words, and this is a good thing, was when there were news articles about the Tennessee Titans, the American pro football team. You know, the Titans were tenacious, or the Tenacious Titans, or whatever. So
yeah,
cool for you. And maybe you can, you know what would be cool is to interview one of them, one of those football
interview
players.
one of the NFL players.
Yeah, one of the ball players, or the coach.
Wow.
Let me see if I got any connections that way. That would be cool. That would be something to really drive the publicity on this. Now, I'm calling this your first ebook because I see a whole entire series out of this in different industries, volume 1, volume 17, etc. Think Chicken Soup for the Soul. All right, so traffic would be places like Medium, which will be heaven for this, email, webinars, social, Substack, and more. Now, I think the next step, and this can have multiple benefits, is the Tenacious Titans podcast, or we could call it the Tenacious Titans show, right? Now, there's a lot of things you could do with this. You could invite the people that you've already interviewed back and talk about like one concept and drill deep, okay? You can invite new people on, okay, and kind of do like I do. I do it with StreamYard, like video, then it becomes a podcast, and then it's spread everywhere. And then what I want to spend some time thinking about, okay, is how can we get your guests to pay you to be on here, okay? And we can play with something you can deliver, some success steps, or something you can deliver in 20 minutes that will get them to pay you to be on there. Because, all that talk about sponsors and all that kind of stuff, that takes years. And I like low-hanging fruit.
And I like to make it simple.
Yeah. And if you started out with like one of these a week and then just saw the response, you can build from there. Like this started out once a week, and now we're at 4 and filling up for the next 2 months. In addition to all that, I mean, that has a cool ring to it. Tenacious Titans podcast, the Tenacious Titans show. And one of the ways to play off of this is with what's that book by Tim Ferriss? Titans of
it's called Tenacious. I've got the book actually.
Yeah.
Tenacious Tools for
Tools
Tenacious.
of Titans. That's
Tools
it.
of Titans. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he'd be a natural.
Actually, the second guy I interviewed gave me the title for the book.
Okay. He'd be a natural for the interview. So would all the people in there. And we'd have to think through how to play that out and play off of that name. All right. So a long, long time ago in in the 90s. We're all familiar with Tony Robbins, right? I want to tell you a secret of his, though, okay? Because in the 70s, I read a lot of books by these guys named Bandler and Grinder, okay? And they had incredibly cool covers with dragons and cool titles. And then you read it, and then it's like, I'm going to use this to go to sleep at night. This is boring. And what they were talking about was NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which is a form of communication, okay?
Mm.
All Tony Robbins did, besides being real tall with big teeth, is he took NLP and put it in street language. Okay, that's really all it is, and he's done okay for himself. And so that's usable here because Tenacious Titans is and you pull out the pieces that make people tenacious in street language. Okay, so Tony Robbins had this thing back in the 90s where for a monthly fee you could get an audio cassette sent to you in a little cardboard thing that you could open and get the audio cassette. And yes, I realize I'm dating myself here, but I can also talk about 8-tracks.
That's okay.
Yeah. My first car got totaled, Allan, when a guy floored it in reverse and didn't, the original Chevy van, didn't see me at all, plowed into my 1967 Plymouth Valiant so hard that the glove compartment burst open and all my 8-tracks flew out. Okay. So what Tony did was, I think it was a monthly interview with someone or a presentation teaching on one of those tips. Okay. So here's Tenacious Titans monthly. We might want to do weekly or bi-weekly. We guess you got to play with it. Some of that we'll do some research and see what people want. I was talking to a private client yesterday by email, and we were talking about what to do next product. And I said, listen, this is a new person. I said, listen, let me give you this so you don't got to learn it over the years. Okay. Every single time I've decided to create a new product, I've learned to come up with 5 different topics and send it to my list. And all the dozens of times I've done that, they have never picked the one I thought they would pick or the one I had planned next. They picked another one. And one time I had thrown another course on repurposing in just as a placeholder because I'd done one 18 months ago.
Or bi-weekly, we just gotta play with it. Show me that we'll do some research and see what people want.
Hush, Siri. Goodness. Somehow it got recorded and played back to me.
Okay.
Anyway, I had just done within the last 18 months a course on repurposing. They wanted another one, and it became a bestseller. So we'll do some market research to see what the people want and what kind of interviews they want. Now, one of the ways to become an expert is to interview all these people. I learned stuff yesterday about energy that I never knew before. And so another thing we can play with in here is you teaching about these people's answers. Okay. Well, according to so-and-so, here's what you need to do. Okay. And that may be one way that we get people to pay you to be on your podcast, because you're using this process, the Tenacious Titans process, you're going to walk away with this thing you can do, with this skill or this different way of looking at something. Okay. Now, there's a lot more space above this, but as we've talked about, we're both real big on simplicity, and this is a business all by itself.
Sure.
Okay? We may get up here and other things later, but let's keep this simple and doable. Okay. Sound good? Any questions so far?
No. Just that last point about people paying to be on the podcast. What's that process again?
Well, That's how this started. Okay.
Right.
From day one, guest paid $97 to be on. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Now, right now, you can do that too. Okay. So from day one, I was profitable. And when a friend of mine that I'm in a mastermind with, who his whole thing is podcasting, I think in the second month I presented in the mastermind about this. He goes, wait, back up. You're making $97 before anything else? Yeah. And he goes, no one does that except the big names. I said, well, I'm not a big name, but I do now. And I mean, or you could wait till you get enough followers and subscribers to get sponsors. I don't recommend that. Okay.
No.
So it doesn't have to be 97. It could be $10.
Right.
But there's something about doing that, well, one, you're making money from day one. Two,
Sure.
It means more to the people. And so, and this is 20 minutes. I mean, you can do longer. You could do, and I will just talk about this because it fits within this. You could do short-term memberships or just short-term coaching where you gathered a group of people together and they each got 20 minutes to work on X, and that would be according to all these people and all the other people you'll interview. So this could be for a fee, okay? A low one to get started as you build your name. And this, the Tenacious Titans monthly, and here's the thing we were talking about earlier. You could crack that monthly dream amount if you made the monthly like $47 to start. Okay, because I'll just do quick math here because I don't like to do math live in public without a calculator. No. Okay, so to do 5K, you'd need 106 subscribers. Okay, that sounds daunting, so let's break it down. Okay, let's make your first grand from this divided by 47. Now we're down to 21 people. Okay, that's very doable. As you promote it, as we use Medium, as you use your list, and the cool thing is you've already got testimonials or social proof from people because they said yes to you. Okay. And so when you call up others, you can name drop and say, hey, so-and-so has done this. I'd love for you to do it too. And really I have Cindy Bidar, she makes a lot of money a month at $47 a month in her membership.
The 6 systems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's an excellent program.
It really is. And so
it's phenomenal.
And one of my favorite quotes from the movies is, if one person can do it, another person can. And so if she can, so can you. And I believe you will. Are you getting a glimpse of the future here of what's possible?
Sorry?
Are you getting a glimpse here of the future of what's possible?
Yeah, I am. I mean, see, also what I wanted to do is I've written a few other ebooks, some are fictional.
Okay.
Fiction. I just want to write a number of non-fiction ebooks as well, because that's my main content program, really.
Yeah, and
I haven't really thought of a membership site model, but I could consider that, but only on a short-term basis.
Consider it, and that's almost not really a membership, although it is, because they're getting a unique deliverable. You don't even have to mail them anything. They just get access to a place where the interviews are on both video and audio. And then, whether you do the other books or not, which cool, the podcast, I like the phrase all roads lead to. What is that? All roads lead to ARLT. Not a good acronym, but anyway, all roads lead to the membership. And because that's sweet, when you're getting that consistent monthly income, that's very sweet. Okay. I told you that this would be the fastest 20 minutes ever, and it
Sure.
was again. Now you'll be able to ask me questions when we talk, and then on down the road too. But for now, any questions?
Yes. What's the next step? Well, the Tenacious Titans Monthly, is that sort of like a newsletter or?
It could be a newsletter and an audio program.
Right. Okay.
To have the audio on a podcast, on a live cast like this. It could
Right.
also
Okay.
be a newsletter could be included, or it could be separate.
Right.
The next steps are getting you on Medium, building that, and that's going to build everything else when we do it right. And then we get your Tenacious Titans podcast set up. And I recommend what I'm doing here, StreamYard, because it's just so easy. And then really think about it this way: you've already got the audios, or
Sure.
7 of them for this monthly. Okay, and so we just got to package that, promote it in a way that gets you what I call it low hanging fruit, the easiest way to make some money and keep making it.
Right.
All right. So as we head towards wrap up, we've been doing this crazy thing with our sponsor today, and just for everybody that's listening, because yesterday when I did it, Allan, I talked about a place where you could learn how to hard sell, and the expression on my guest's face just changed. He was like, "This isn't Jeff," but it was fake, just like today's sponsor is fake, and it's supposed
Yes.
to be fun. Okay, so for you content creators out there that struggle with creating titles, okay, I want you to visit titlesmitles.com, where they say, hey, all a title does is get in the way of getting to the rest of the content. So what we recommend is, if you're writing an article, the title is Article 1. If you're doing a video, it's Video 1. If you're doing a podcast, it's Podcast 1. That way you've done the title easily, and you can get right to the stuff. Again, visit us at titlesmitles.com. Now, that's totally just a joke, and it'll catch
Yeah.
up a while.
Sounds good.
I just want to make a point of that, because some people will go, "What, Jeff?" All right, Allan, thank you for being such a great guest, bringing great stuff.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeff.
Super excited for you. Thank your accomplice that helped you get all the sound going good and everything.
Yes. Yeah. My friend helped me there.
Good for your friend. Folks, if you want to be sitting in Allan's seat one day, not at his home, but in the Content Profit seat, the link is right below my name, jeffherring.com/profit. And everything we've talked about today, the show notes, the recording, the video, and including a link to Allan's book, Tenacious Titans. And I would say get it now before he says, hey, I need to raise the price on this. Will be in the show notes. And as always, thank you for being here. A lot of places you could have been, but you chose to be with us. And I always appreciate that. And as always, folks, go use this stuff, and we'll catch you on the next episode.